And we are back.
Y'all know that's right. Back again for another episode of the Hoop Plug.
Yes, sir. And as always, rocking with you. It's your main man, Faraz, in the building. And I got with me my brother, my partner in crime, Coke to the CEO, Stir Fry Ty. Tyler, how you feeling today, brother?
Oh, I'm feeling good, bro. Jam-packed show as always. Is this the Nuggets year? OT Thriller and Golden State Kawhi. The man is back. And more. Keep it locked. This is a jam-packed episode of The Plug. For us, how you doing, my brother, my dog, my co-host?
Hey, I'm feeling good, man. Just had a nice little Sunday sesh. Hoops, you know what I'm saying? Was balling over at the old high school, you know what I mean? Saw some familiar faces, you know? Got a triple-double. It was a good day.
Okay, triple-double, no assist?
You know, come on, man. Strict blocks and steals, no rebounds, points, blocks, and steals. Now I'm playing.
Go.
But yeah, man, now I'm feeling good. All jokes aside, excited to get back on wax. Like Ty mentioned earlier, we got a jam-packed episode for ya. You know what I'm saying? We're taking it back to that throwback plug. And no better place to start the throwback plug than the Denver Nuggets. Or should I say the Mile High City? That's where we started, in the Mile High City, you know?
Let's go, because 0-3 in their last three, but don't let that fool you. Yeah, they got that one seed in the Western Conference all locked up, signed, sealed, and delivered. Ask a Nuggets fan if you know one. They'll tell you this is their year. All signs pointing to a postseason run for Denver, and yet I'd still feel like a surprise if that were to occur. Because on one side, just 3 years ago, this was a team that was in the conference finals, out there in the bubble. Yeah, they lost, but every year since, Jokic just won the MVP, on his way to get his third of them. Even his biggest critics must admit the man is getting better and better by the year. But now, for the first time since they found themselves matched up with the Lakers in the conference finals, they're healthy. Now, why? Why would anyone expect that this would be a fraudulent team?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is, right, they got the first seed locked up. They are solely responsible for getting Ja Morant caught up at Shotgun Willie's over in Colorado. You know, he was playing a game in Denver. So all jokes aside, man, they could have the best seed in the West. They got the best record in the league, man. This Denver Nuggets team is not it. They're just missing something, you know what I mean? And I don't know if it's just their play of this year. They're the best team in the West, but it still feels like they're missing something. They're a full squad. I don't know. Maybe the playoffs got to start for me to really be a believer, you know, of this Denver team. But we've seen it time and time again where this team has been number one seed in the West or very high-ranked seed, and they fumbled the bag. They did not live up to expectations. They did not reach their full potential. And unfortunately, this feels like more of the same. You may very well see a Jokic MVP season again. But that don't mean nothing. That don't mean a championship, man. Unless these boys are firing on all cylinders, you know, taking advantage of that home court advantage, I don't know. It's hard for me to see them being crowned as champs at the end of the season.
Are you doubting the back-to-back-to-back MVP? Because I might be too. The majority of that improvement we've seen from the Joker has come on the offensive side, refining an already elite offensive game. No one's got questions on that side of the ball. But boy, that guy looked like a 7-foot traffic cone a lot of times on the defensive end. They have gotten better as a team defensively. We could thank KCP, Bruce Brown, and others for fitting in seamlessly, props to their GM, and helping turning that defense into a top 12 defense. But the ultimate question is not going to be answered in the regular season. Faraz pointed to the questions we got about them in the postseason. Will they be able to get stops? The situation that Jokic is in right now reminds me of Giannis in 21. Yes, the championship year. Both recognized that generational talents. They had that foreign stigma, that doubt that they could win in the postseason. And for Giannis in 21, the path cleared. The sea parted. LeBron left the East. Things were peachy and rosy. And he marched his way to the finals. The path seems a little bit clear for Jokic in the West right now. Kevin Durant mystically trips over thin air. Steph Curry still just trying to figure it out and get in the rhythm. LeBron James nowhere to be found in this playoff picture. I don't know. Yes, I have my questions about Denver, but man, things are looking to line up for the possible 3-time MVP to make a run to the finals.
I hear you, brother, and you made some good points. But unfortunately, that's where my agreement with you has got to stop at this point, man. Listen, it's funny that every team that you mentioned, I was going to actually touch on them. So, right, Steph was trying to get back, but after last night's victory, we're going to touch on it later. Overtime thriller versus the Bucks, number one seed in the East, a very much so a potential finals matchup, right? He was going off. 20 points in 7 minutes, 36 points in an overtime thriller. He basically carried them to the victory on that one. The Suns, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think that this is necessarily their year per se, but KD will be back in time for the first round. That's what they're saying. Furthermore, you got Dallas at the 8th seed. Dallas could do anything at the 8th seed. You got Kyrie, you got Luka Doncic. I mean, if there's a team to upset 1 through 8, it's probably 1 and 2, man. It's the Kings and the Nuggets. I mean, come on. That's not knocking what Jokic has done all season. It's not knocking what Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon have done this season. They've really taken their play to another level. But I don't think it's a lack of belief in the Denver Nuggets. I think it's a strong belief in these other contenders in the Western Conference.
What have they shown you, bro? They've been inconsistent teams, and that's why they're down there in the standings. I'm not too confident about this Denver team either, but what Jokic is doing, this isn't the Washington Russell Westbrook triple-double year. This is that OKC Russell Westbrook triple-double year when they had that insane record and almost didn't lose a game when he had a triple-double. That's what Jokic was. They had their first loss when he went 10-10-10 or better. So with that, Murray getting back to himself, averaging nearly 24 and 7 in his last 20 games. Michael Porter Jr. taking that next step, actually linking 60 healthy games in a row, close to it. You know, he didn't actually hit 60. And then Aaron Gordon, almost making an all-star team. These guys, the other guys, are doing it. I don't know. I just feel it feels different. It feels different.
I hear you. But you made a comp to that Thunder.
Oh yeah,
to that Thunder
myself
team.
In the foot there, didn't I?
you want to listen to how they bowed out in the playoffs?
But it was fun to watch.
Hey, you goddamn right about that, brother. That's why I gotta agree with you. Listen, man, I hear you. I'm not hating. I'm actually wishing them the best of luck, man. I'd like to see them go far. The run that they had in the bubble was unprecedented for a Denver squad. I mean, it's very possible we see a back-to-back, two-back MVP. Possibly the first time in league history. I don't think it's ever been done. I don't know. But yeah, big shouts out to Denver. Let's just see. Let's see how the ball rolls.
Let's see. All right, speaking of seeing some crazy things, OT Thriller and Golden State versus the Bucks. My boy Faraz, why don't you let us know what went down?
You already know, man. This was, if you were watching the game, Saturday night, national TV game, you're thinking, okay, this is about to be the best game of the night. Best game of the week. You know what I'm saying? Potential NBA Finals matchup. And the game starts off weak. Bucks go up. You know, the Warriors aren't putting up too much of a fight. Steph, like you said, is just getting back into the groove of things. Then the fourth quarter comes around. And Steph goes off the back end of the fourth quarter in OT. Steph drops 20 of his 36 points. Drew Holiday was doing his thing. You know, this was I gotta mention, this was a Giannis-less Milwaukee Bucks team. So, right, it's Drew Holiday was leading the way on both ends of the floor. He had a crazy three to put him up by 3 with barely any time left. Steph came back. You know, he did what he does. You know, he had a big 3. And they actually had a chance to win the game. Ball got inbounded to Draymond. We were expecting Draymond to make the quick pass to Steph. He wanted a little glory. He put it up, and we all know what happened next. Clank, OT, Steph wins the game. Man, it was a great sight to see. Did you get a chance to catch the game?
Bro, I didn't catch the game, but I saw the highlights, and I saw that play, and I got one thing to say. Draymond Green, you should never be taking that shot. When I saw you pivot and square to the rim, I said, oh, Lord, help him. I'm just surprised it hit the rim, bro.
Facts.
10 times out of 10, he should be dishing that thing to Steph like he does for his entire career. He's the reason you'll end up with a jacket. He's the reason you got 4 chips. He's the reason you can chirp off and anyone listens to your podcast. You better pass that man the ball.
Game on the line. I get it. It's tied. You know you're getting some more basketball if you miss. But I think that's what makes it even cheaper. You know what I mean? Come on, dog. Give the rock to Steph. Let him put it away. But I got to thank him because, you know, Steph scored some points in overtime, and it was just the icing, the little vanilla on the cake. You know what I'm saying?
Give me an extra 6 minutes. You know, I'm feeling loose.
No, real quick, I was just about to say, man, it's that new shooting sleeve. I was telling my boy the other day, this shooting sleeve, Steph, this full arm shooting sleeve, Steph, is a chapter in Steph's career. Like, you know, when Kobe changed over, you know what I'm saying?
It's straight
when
out
Kobe
the
changed
my
from
park. No one wears that anymore. No one wears the half shooter sleeve. It's not even a shooter sleeve. It's like one of those compression shirts that just has a sleeve attached or something.
Facts. Like, he got one cut off. other one on, you know. But now this
Aisha
is
was in
another
the back with the scissors making that thing.
Come on, yo. You already stitching it up, put the SC on it, you know what I mean? I think this is a new chapter in his career, man. Like, not to say new chapter, but it's like basically, you know, Kobe went from 8 to 24. This is the older Steph Curry. We had KD. We missed him. We won without him. We went through the trials and tribulations. Now, is this new dynasty Steph right here?
Well, they're going to have to win one. I was trying to figure out if it was injury related or not.
So what he was saying is, I think it was related to the most recent injury, but after he recovered from the injury, he said it's just the support that he gets when shooting, you know, it just made him keep it. He's like, man, there's no reason why to not have it on, you know?
Okay, I like it. And on the Milwaukee side of things, all this time without Giannis is just going to help this Bucks team. They are still my favorites to make it out the Eastern Conference. Joe Ingles is starting to put it together. He missed a lot of time early half of the season, and having guys like Joe, Bobby Portis, Jay Crowder, Brook Lopez in a rhythm, firing on all cylinders with 10 games to go, and Giannis coming back, that's the choice you take rather than extending that 16-game win streak. We saw that Golden State team blow themselves out trying to win regular season games. That's not what Milwaukee does, a veteran-led team. They know what they're doing. They're getting ready for the playoffs, baby, and I like how they're looking.
This was, even though, you know, you hate to see them lose such a close one, a game where they were up most of the time, you mentioned it. You love to see them clicking off and potentially, you know, beating the Warriors. They took them to OT. They should have won that game, like you said, without Giannis. I think it says a lot to the form that they're in. I think it says a lot to the coaching staff and the job that they've been able to do with the new additions to the roster. Man, and I think once Giannis gets back into the lineup, like you said, this is the team to beat in the East. And the two teams that I really see giving the Bucks a run for the money if they happen to match up are the Celtics or the 76ers. But even then, it's the Bucks series to lose, you know?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Speaking of another team getting in playoff form, overshadowed by the Russ signing, don't get fooled. Kawhi Leonard is back. And just in time, bro. And just in time. The playoffs, like we said, are just weeks away. And it's always been a question of health with this Clipper bunch. And right now that health is intact, bro. 26-15 on the year with Claw in that lineup. And he's been money since the new year, averaging 27 a night and leading to a lot of wins. I mean, obviously there was that little Russ stretch where they were trying to get him acclimated, but Tyronn Lue has figured out how to handle Russ. If it ain't working, sit him down. And that's what they're doing.
Kawhi Leonard in his last 3 games, 38 points, 24 points, and 34 points. In that order, he's been absolutely hooping. And like you said, at no better time for the Clippers. I thought Russell Westbrook was going to come and make an immediate impact for the team. Thought he still had a little bit left to give, which he does, just unfortunately not on the winning side of a basketball game.
I was just going to say, it was interesting when they moved Reggie Jackson and brought Russell Westbrook in. I was like, oh, it's over. They're going ride or die with Russell Westbrook. He's playing 35 minutes tonight. That's how they were talking about it. But what they actually have done is when it's not working, and even sometimes when it is working, PG gets a lot of that point guard duty. He's going point forward, turning Kawhi more into the scorer, getting all that facilitating. Nah, you don't have to do that no more. You go back to being that killer, that mercenary from Toronto, and Paul George will figure it out and get everyone else involved. And it's looking like it's working. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And it's been working on the stat sheet and the score line. So with that being said, the Clippers, don't sleep on them just yet. We had a big video at the beginning of the year, said not to sleep on them. They had signed John Wall, all these crazy things. John Wall's gone. Like Ty mentioned, Reggie Jackson's gone. But I think this team can still do some damage.
You know, they're taking on their persona of their best player, Kawhi, and it's been quiet, right? It was off to that slow start, but they're coming. All right, bro.
Yep. Speaking of another team doing some damage in Los Angeles right now, we got to touch a little bit on the Lakers. I know what you want to touch on, but man, on the winning side of things or on the basketball side of things, this Lakers team is clicking off. What do you think?
Bro, D'Lo left LA a child and he came back a man, bro. And that sounded a little weird, but the difference in the player is night and day. It's night and day. It felt like that teenager in the Blake Griffin dunk video with all the kids on Team USA watching that practice.
Yeah.
And now he's mature. He had that post-game conference when he was talking like Ray Lewis, like, these are my guys. They're lucky I sprained my ankle. But the most efficient season of his career in a contract year. Shout out to him, balling for that bag. I like it.
Yes,
28, 9, and 5 last night, bro. Him and AD said, put the team on my back. Darvin Ham, I got this. And they've been leading the Lakers to wins. They're marching up the Western Conference right into that play-in. Not too many wins. We got to keep that realistic. But
Nah, Ty, poetic. I had to clap for you, bro. That was beautifully said, man. Like he said, he left Los Angeles a boy and came back a man. That's facts, bro. And D'Angelo Russell, if at any time in his life, at any time in his career, was he ready to take on this situation with Los Angeles? It's no better time than right now. And it shows he's adapted fully. Like you said, AD and D'Lo saying, we the young bucks on the squad. LeBron, rest up. We're going to need you come playoff time, but we're going to get us there. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get us there. Austin Reeves is helping out. Rui Hachimura is doing his thing, helping out on both ends of the floor, little assistance, Lakers fans are happy. And
the players look a little happy too, except for one individual in particular. Because if you're a Colin Cowherd fan, I'm not too much. I've watched it in the past, but he had a big claim that we had to talk about. All right. So Colin Cowherd claims he's been tipped by some within the Lakers that things aren't hostile between LeBron and AD, but they are no longer guys, no longer buddy. Okay. And the quote reads, I think there is a feeling LeBron kind of needs him for at least this year. He came in, Davis, that being out of shape post-bubble. It was his turn to take the team, take the baton. When LeBron's missing, AD's often not playing well, and there's been some disappointment from the LeBron camp. Faraz, what do you think about that? A little rift between the two superstars in LA.
I think a lot of this stems from the day that LeBron James broke the NBA scoring record, right? We saw the pictures of AD. He was sitting down on the bench. He was not happy. There were claims of the reason of his lack of happiness was that they were losing the game. The game was stopped midway through the game, and they were down. But based on this Colin Cowherd quote, it seems like it's a little bit more than that. I'm going to have to say, as of right now, they got the same agent. LeBron has not come out publicly saying anything about Anthony Davis and vice versa. And as for now, nothing too crazy has come out. I wouldn't be surprised. This is the thing. When you have two top guys on the same team vying for that number one spot, there's going to be some resentment there. I mean, you saw it in Cleveland with Kyrie. Maybe you're seeing it now. I don't know if that's what it is. But as of right now, I think it's a little too early to say that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, man. LeBron isn't just a superstar. He's brighter than that. No doubt about it. This is like the most followed athlete in North America, and South America. I mean, you got to look at Messi and some of those other guys that are eclipsing his stardom. He won the title in the bubble, played amazingly. There was an argument he could have been finals MVP. He went to LeBron, but he played extremely well. You get no parade, right? It's a shortened off season. There's a new champion in about 4 months. Your reign as champion is the shortest in the history. You didn't get the finals MVP. People say it's a Disney ring.
Yeah.
And now you're with the all-time scorer on your team. You're not getting an ounce of credit, bro. You should have known this when you signed up, but it felt like AD kind of switched his whole life. Remember, he wasn't always a Rich Paul guy. He wasn't always a clutch sports guy. He did that to get to LA and play with Bron. So there is probably a narrative in his head, some things he sees online of, I'm riding Bron's coattails. He's got infected with the Kyrie disease back in Cleveland. But hopefully it doesn't turn out the same way. I think there's a little bit of that. I don't think it's nearly close enough to push AD to ask for a trade, but who knows if it doesn't grow.
Speaking of hoping things don't turn out that way, we got to touch on this Ja Morant subject, man. This Ja Morant situation absolutely blew up last night. Ty, before we get into it, have you heard about it? Did you get a chance to hear about the most recent information and evidence of the Ja Morant saga?
Yeah, I don't know how it got leaked. I think that's a story for another day. But why don't you let the people know?
Some very choice footage of Ja Morant at Shotgun Willie's in Denver, Colorado. I think it was actually Glendale, Colorado, if I'm correct. With a performer, with an employee of the club. We'll call her an employee of the club. And there were bands all over the floor. I mean, this was a giant room, and there was more money than there was floor. Like, you couldn't see the floor. There was money all over the place, right?
There was money all in the wings. He had a tray of wings on the table, just money covering the sauce.
Oh man, barbecue bills, barbecue hundreds, my favorite. You know, he was enjoying himself, needless to say. But yeah, that footage blew up. You know, that was the same night that he pulled out the. It wasn't the shotgun at Shotgun Willie's, due to contrary to popular belief. He just had the handgun on him. Enough to potentially draw some federal charges. Enough to definitely get him suspended from the NBA. Ty, what are your thoughts on this Ja Morant situation, man? Like, I don't think it needed to blow out of proportion. I think the club in Colorado definitely got paid out to release that to a TMZ, or I think it was the New York Post who actually broke the story. But
yeah, I don't like that getting out there. Private life should remain private, especially when you're paying that much money, right? Like, you should have some sort of trust policy, right? Like, he just spent $30,000. The club owner said
it was actually $50,000.
$50,000. Not a peep. No one should even know he was in the building at that point. You know what I mean? That's hush money plus some. But as far as the issue goes with Ja Morant, honestly, I feel a lot more compassion than anything, man. This is a 23-year-old kid, okay? Yeah. And what a lot of these NBA athletes, a lot of these teen stars say is, when you leave school early and you become a millionaire, your growth and maturity stops there, right? So if you're leaving, in Ja Morant's case, as a sophomore at 20 years old, you kind of freeze your
development,
your development, your mental capacity. Not like, I'm not saying he's a dumb guy or anything like that.
No.
Just in terms of his responsibility, right? Like, he's not paying his own bills. He's not figuring out when to, just do the normal things that come with being an adult on your own. Being in the spotlight like he is, he's the most famous person in Memphis. He's one of the brightest stars of the NBA, under 25. He just signed a new $150 million extension. That's a lot of pressure for a young kid, man. And I think you're seeing someone, not to mention, how his team has become villains of the whole association. Draymond Green is calling out his teammates and him. I mean, everyone. Shannon Sharp's beefing with him on the sidelines. He feels like public enemy number one. So I can empathize with someone that's just in a lot of pressure. And I feel like, I'm not defending the actions, but it's hard. It's got to be.
The guy's 23. He's a kid at the end of the day. I mean, he's still is going to have issues renting a car, right? Let's not forget that. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean? We even saw like the level that this guy was at. I mean, Powerade, which is an iconic brand for any athlete or anyone really in America, signed him for the first time. They had a cover athlete in 13 years. I want to argue since they had LeBron on there, right? Ads pulled, like the guy is really going through it. He's not being able to do what he loves. And he's made some bad decisions, but he hasn't hurt anybody. No stories of that coming out. People make mistakes. It's not the end of the world, And Steven Jackson, actually, big shouts out to Stat, man. This man, Steven Jackson, came out and said, anybody who played in the 90s, y'all better not open your mouth about Ja Morant, because we didn't grow up in this clout-chasing era of people on social media and trying to share photos. But if we did, there would be a lot of guys from our era who would not have had as long careers as they did, basically, is what he said. So big shouts out to Steven Jackson for always keeping it 100,
Yeah, and that's one thing that's the most indefensible part, is like the videos of him chugging drink, the video of him showing the gun. He did that to himself. That's the part that is hardest to defend. But what I will say about Ja, I have no doubt whenever he gets back on the court, he's going to be the same guy, if not better.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, we've seen it before. This Grizzlies team, I believe it was last year, they were able to, knock some games off in a row. Without him, he came back. There were some issues, but nonetheless, he was hooping still. I think it's going to be more of the same this time around. Just wishing this guy, he could get back soon. I think he's learned his lesson. I just hope Ja does what's best for Ja.
Facts. And on a lighter note, no one listening to Big Ben Vet, Aquaman, Steven Adams, he had the team meeting like, we got to act better on the road. I can just imagine him in his Australian accent. You got to be kidding me, mate. We just talked about this last night.
It's exactly like that. No, and I think the sad part about it is they literally talked about it the night before. And he's like, Jaws like, that shit. You know?
Gritty gangster.
Thank you. Yeah, gritty.
Probably what he was doing during the meeting. Yo, there's
man.
also a college prospect that's going to be dancing in the tournament with some allegations on himself. But we're going to get into that in a little bit more because March Madness has begun by the time this video has gone live. And we got to tell y'all, we got to get y'all ready for it. We're going to do that in Who Plug style. We are an NBA podcast, but we got to shed some light on some young guys you guys need to be looking out for, not only in this tournament, but in the NBA for years to come. All right, first guy that deserves shout, big man out of Purdue, 7'4" phenom, Zach Edey.
Playing for the Purdue Boilermakers from Toronto, from the 6. Shouts out Drake. You know, averaging 22.1 points per game this season, 13.1 rebounds per game, 2.3 blocks on 61.6% from the field. You know, looking like a young Shaq, plus great free throw shooting, 72.8% from the free throw line. That's a 7-attempt clip. The guy's a hooper. The guy's a baller, man, and that's one guy you want to be able to look out for this college season, no doubt.
Yo, and beyond, front runner for National Player of the Year. He's bigger than everyone on the court every single night, and what I love about him is he plays like it. He's not one of these bigs that's standing on the three-point line. He's not one of these bigs that's trying to fade away like Dirk. He's doing that drop step, hook, drop step off the glass. He reminds me of Yao. He's got the same back to the basket game.
Oh, you said it reminds me of you?
Yeah.
For us? That's what you said?
No. You do got that game, though. I will say. I'll give that to you. Zach Edey, you know what I'm saying? He's cool as a cucumber, Asian persuasion, shades of Yao Ming.
That's awesome. The next guy on this list you got to watch out for, Jalen Wilson from Kansas, 6'8". Guy's been hooping, doing it all this season, man. Ty, why don't you let him know what this guy's been able to do for the Jayhawks this season?
Just a cool 21 points per game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and on a 35% clip from deep. Man, when I tell you this jumper is buttery smooth, it is my favorite jumper in the class, and it's coming out of a 6'8" frame. That's rare, okay? He's got a lot of Dinwiddie in him, that shifty in transition. I'm going to get to the Baja, and in a stronger build than Dinwiddie. I like his game a lot. He could be playing a pile of bully ball, Duke-style brand of basketball, but he chooses to stay on the perimeter and get his buckets like a guard with true dignity and class. I like his game, bro. Jalen Wilson's hands is going to be doing big things.
Yes, sir. I'm right there with you. I agree. Next up on this list, I want you to let them know about Brandon Miller from Alabama.
Following in Ja Morant's footsteps, 6'9" forward out of Alabama, runaway freshman of the year favorite, and he comes with his fair share of off-court drama. All right, this was the guy that allegedly provided the murder weapon to a former teammate used in the shooting. And guess what he did? Respond to allegations. Dropped 41 the same night. Let's go. Talk about a cold-blooded killer. That's Brandon Miller.
Talk about this kid is the truth. No Paul Pierce, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, all jokes aside, he's been able to clear up some of them issues, and we're looking for him to have a dominant NCAA tournament. Next on this list and last on this list for the men's department, Jarris Walker from Houston, you know, playing for the Cougars at 6'8", 240 pounds. Walker's a multiple level scorer. This guy can do it all. You know what I mean? He's someone you're going to want to watch out for at the 4 position as well in the tournament. Expect him to make some noise.
He's had some quiet games, but I think Houston's going to be playing for a while, and with that will come opportunity. He's got a lot of Bam Adebayo in his game. He may be a better shooter, though, from deep, but, you know, it's hard to tell with that college line. Bro can dominate a game on both ends of the court. And a true power forward, another lottery pick lot.
Last person I wanted to bring up actually was Aaliyah Boston on the women's side. You know what I mean? Defending champs, South Carolina. You know, the team she's lifted them to a 32-0 mark, averaging 13.2, 9.8 rebounds, 2.1 blocks in less minutes than she did last season. You know, basically a walking double-double. And guess what the best part about it all is? She's from the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's right. Yes, sir. She's from the island of St. Thomas, looking like the female version of Tim Duncan, out here winning National Player of the Year, leading her team to NCAA title.
Business. That's Husky business. That's crazy.
She said Breanna Stewart, Stewie, Step aside. I'm Aaliyah Boston from Rock City.
I like
she
it.
should have
I
been
like
from
it.
St. Croix. She should have been from St. Croix, but
Rock
we not
City
gonna
still
knock her too
deserves shout.
much.
Rock City.
You know,
I
big
was in your
shout.
hood not too long ago. All right. That's going to do it for the March Madness preview. Yo, it's going to be a crazy tournament. You filling out a bracket this year, bro?
Man, this is the thing, right? I would, but I'm not trying to take the people them money. You know, I'll never be wrong, given that I'm a real fan of basketball. I'll know all the upsets, trials, tribulations. You know what I'm saying? If y'all looking for picks, message me, dough. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know. Maybe I might. You know, time's running out, so I got to take care of it very, very soon. But we'll see. What about yourself? You thinking about doing any brackets this season?
You know, I might dabble. You know what I'm saying? The office pools are kind of outlawed now. I don't know why, but either way, I might make my own, enter myself in that. You know, they got that tournament. You can win $1 million if you get everything right and then predict that final score. And I probably will because of all the reasons for us just listed. So, yeah, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Y'all already know. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. That's going to do it. You already know, guys. I just want to say, man, if y'all appreciate the episode, y'all appreciate what we're doing, just hit us with a subscribe. You know what I mean? We want to be able to keep bringing you guys this fire content for the long run. Can't do it without y'all. And yeah, any support is good support of ours, man. With that being said, we'll wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
As always, put some flavor in your ear.
Peace.
Peace.